Take your criticism, man, stick it up your, just met your girl and she's about to give up the, keep talking crazy. When I'm around, act like, when he comes up missing, well, you already know. I got my control over a troll. For me to acknowledge your existence, it will cost you a toll. It will cost you a fee to get attention from thee. But I think it's cute you have time for mentioning me.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Timothy Bradley says that there are red flags about Saul Canelo Alvarez. And we're going to take a listen to what Timothy Bradley had to say, and then we're going to discuss it. So let's listen to what Timothy Bradley had to say.
As far as Canelo goes, I just tell you this. Canelo used to get tired. I remember, man, I'm telling you, he used to get tired. It's a guy with 40-something fights at the time. He used to get tired. He got tired in the Danny Jacobs fight. He got tired in a couple fights beforehand. I know that was some time ago, a few years ago, but he would get tired in the second half. In the first Triple G fight, he got tired. But then now all of a sudden, this dude walking guys down. This guy is not getting tired anymore. This guy is actually knocking out guys now, breaking faces. And so it just raises a flag. That's all I can tell you. I wouldn't say that he is. I won't say that he is, but I'm just saying, I think the facts are there, and these are the findings, and I just think it's kind of odd. So we'll see. Caleb Plant fight. We'll see.
What do you think of Andre working with Caleb now?
That's great look.
Does that make Caleb's chances go up?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll stop it there because that's what he had to say about Canelo and there being red flags. And the red flags he's talking about is Canelo and PED use, and he's saying Canelo used to get tired, and now he's not, and now he's breaking people's faces and blah blah blah. So I'm gonna turn it over to Trill Dollar Bill. What's your reaction to what Timothy Bradley had to say?
I was just looking up articles because I remember myself. Like, see, this is what happened. This is why it sucks being a real person and having to do the internet and all that, right? Because I have to come at it from, like, I just don't like it. Like, when things was said about you at one point, now you're trying to do it to another person, and I don't care about the rep. People used to say that you was on roids, and I'm looking at back in the articles back here in 2018, and people used to accusing you of using steroids. Tim, right here, I'm looking at this thing right here. Timothy Bradley was a steroid user. These are all these clips of him coming up, pictures of him talking about him using all these rumors about people talking about when he was on steroids. And that's what you're doing. I don't know. It's like people have a certain animosity for certain people when they get to the top. When you're number one, everybody comes for you. You got to be something. Floyd, Manny. It has to be something. LeBron, Kobe. There's always something. You can't just not recognize like greatness. You just can't see it. It has to be something. He has such a crush on Andre Ward that no love, no nothing. Get off of his. So Andre ain't fighting no more. Andre ain't fighting no more. Andre ain't fighting no more. Timothy Bradley, leave Canelo alone. You want to do is just always want to crap on somebody. Oh, somebody that's at the top, number one. If they're not underneath your ESPN banner, you want to crap on them. Or they ain't rocking with the narrative that you rocking with because you think, oh, Andre Ward could be Canelo, and I don't like Canelo because of his hair or whatever corny reason you got not to like him. So you're gonna be like, oh, and Ward was in there working with Plant, so this is that and third. Like, you're such a hater, bro. I can't hate on somebody like that. I can't do it, man. I just can't do it. Like, we watch Canelo. We watch him get better. That's what you're supposed to do. He takes this thing serious. No boxing, no life. He's in there every day training his hardest. And this is what we do. Just because he's at top right now, anybody that's at the top, we just try to tear him down. We do anything to build them, and when they get up there, we want to tear them down. We suck as people, yo. And I'm not on no Canelo bandwagon. I'm just sitting here saying the obvious. Like, I watched him. We seen his flaws and we seen him correct him in the ring. Things that we was like, oh, he need to work on him. Then we seen him, he go back. He took all the criticism. That's what you want to see from your fighter. And what do? We crap on that. We crap on the AJs. We crap on all these, man, come on, man. We just can't recognize greatness. We always got to throw something like people suck, man. And I just don't want to be a sucky person. And I don't want people to be out there and be sucky people. Just because you on the internet, you don't have to be an ugly person. That's all I'm saying, man. It's just like it's always some hate. And it's not even about Canelo. It's just like everybody who you see work hard at something. Anybody y'all see work hard at something, y'all want to tear it down, man. Let's just salute something for once. If something comes out and it's real hard evident, and then we can talk then. Let's just salute something. And you know what I'm saying? Let's just do that for one time. Just appreciate something. Instead of waiting for when the person is dead or when they was gone, and then we want to be like, oh, he was the greatest. You know, he was one of the top Mexican fighters. Let a plane crash or something like that. God forbid. Get that boy his flowers. So I'm always making excuses, man. People just suck, man. Y'all don't have to suck, man. That's all I'm saying, man. Like you get back what you put out. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm just the hate on all the athletes from no matter where they are, what sport they are in. If they're number one, there's always some crap. And it just sucks. People that came from the bottom, like us, with this show, we came from the bottom, from nothing, from 35 views. People make excuses, oh, that's because you talk about this, you talk about that. Why can't you just appreciate something beautiful, something organic? We ain't paying for nothing. We doing this out of love. We ain't getting paid for this. Then you got all these other fighters, they risking their lives. And we always want to throw crap on them because we hate us, because we feel some type of way with ourselves. That's some suckers. But I'm sorry. But Timothy Bradley, that's what you always do. It's almost like you always hating on somebody that doesn't go with your crew, your ESPN crew, and then they go against your boy crush, Andre Ward. You want him to fight everybody. You think he can fight everybody. You know what I'm saying? He think Andre Ward can beat everybody. You know what I mean? But I'm done. I'm sorry. My rant over. Just give people their props while they're here, man.
All right. Well, Conspiracy, you up.
Well, I've been saying this for a long time. I do think Canelo dirty, but however, I'm being objective.
The views and opinion of G do not reflect the Broxton Bros.
No, let G cook, man.
Let G rock.
Let me just explain. However,
Hey, listen, you've been messing with G a little too much this episode, Ned.
Exactly. Fall back, son. Fall back. You're still my son. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let me pull out the belt. I ain't forget. Now, personally, you know me, I've always said I think all elite level professional boxers try to cheat. They're trying to beat WADA, whatever. If they can beat it, they're gonna try and beat it. So I just think Canelo's just good at beating the game. But nonetheless, I don't agree with what Timothy Bradley was saying. His argument for the red flags, and here's why. He mentioned the Daniel Jacobs fight and the Triple G1 fight, right? Now, I'm going to even put in the Laura fight in this one. When you watch that Canelo fight, he was actually trying to box. Now, when you're looking at Canelo, I think he's realized, yo, I'm a counter fighter. All I got to do is wait for you to make mistakes. I'm going to hit you really hard. That allows me to control the pace. I don't have to throw as many punches as before. And when I hit you, it really hurts, right? And it's kind of like, yo, with Andy Ruiz, right? It's like, yo, how come Andy Ruiz could go all 12 rounds? Andy Ruiz does the same formula that Canelo does. Like, he's not the one that's trying to, like, attack you constantly. He's waiting for you to make the mistake, and then he counters, right? I do that too in the gym. I'm like, I'm too fat to be throwing all of these jabs. You know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes I just gotta plant my feet, wait for you to throw, identify the mistake, and try to counter. You know what I'm saying? That's what Canelo does, and he does it great. Like, this dude's an excellent counter fighter. So when he hits dudes, even if he hits you in the arm, he's gonna tear a bicep. He's gonna tear a rib. He's gonna take a face, an eye socket. That's the new strategy that Canelo has that I feel like I can see what Timothy Bradley was trying to say, but it's not the same Canelo. Like, even Canelo in the Triple G1 versus the Triple G2, two different Canelos. In the second fight, he realized, all right, you want to do Mexican style, we're going to do Mexican style. But that benefits Canelo more so than it benefits a Triple G. Triple G is a boxer. He throws a lot of punches. But Mexican style, you just stay right here and we go. Canelo staying right there. He doesn't have to move as much as he did in the first fight. So then now he has more energy, more endurance. He can last longer. I don't think that's due to drugs. I think it's due to he doesn't have to be a boxer anymore. When you're trying to be a boxer, that's a lot of punches. That's a lot of movement. You got to chase people down. You got to do so much that you're like, man, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he switched the style up. And to me, you can't hold them.
No. I was just saluting to what you were saying because you was just agreeing with me, being a student of the game.
Exactly. I'm just being
trying to get better.
I do believe all of these homies is dirty out here. I think Caleb Plant probably dirty too. You know what I'm saying? But again, I don't have evidence, right? And if Timothy Bradley's evidence is based upon him watching Canelo going up against these guys when Canelo was boxing with them, I don't respect that, because now Canelo has a whole different style where it's just strictly I'm counter fighting, I'm moving forward, I'm pressing the action, I'm hitting you with heavy shots, uppercuts, and hooks. I'm not trying to dance with you no more because I get tired. I'm trying to take you out early. That's a completely different Canelo.
TBE.
I'm just gonna say this. If you're scared of Canelo, just say that, man. You had the time to fight the man. You bowed out gracefully. You bowed out at the age of 35 years old, if I'm correct. 34, 35.
Who?
You could have Timothy Bradley.
Oh.
He's only 38. I'm just doing the math. Timothy, you could have fought the man, and now you would call him out saying this and that. Hey, man, you can still come out of retirement. We saw Holyfield last night. We could have saw Oscar. We done seen Tyson. We done seen Anderson. We done seen all of them come out.
David Hayes.
Yo, Nate, you do know Timothy Bradley was a welterweight, bro. Like, he's not appreciated.
Canelo was back in the day.
He isn't no more.
Canelo was welter.
He isn't no more.
He ain't no more. And yo, Timothy
he isn't no more.
Timothy, you looking real husky.
Timothy 210 right now.
Yeah, you looking real husky. You looking big. You looking like big. You rocking big boy swag right now, yo. You bringing fat boys back in style, yo. Bring G out of retirement too. Come on, Timothy. You talking big? You talking big man?
Sorry, I forgot that guy's 6-pack. My bad.
You know, it's right here. It's right here. It's right here. You know, a little training camp. A little training camp. Oh man.
Oh, yo, Ned, stay off the netables, bro.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, yo, let him know, Ned, under the fat is a 6-pack, okay?
Maniac.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so a few things. And people are so funny because when people make certain arguments, they don't realize how they screw up their own arguments. But I do, because that's what I'm trained to do. So, like, the big argument is Canelo Alvarez is a cheater. They're basing this on the time when he tests positive for clenbuterol, and he said that he got it by ingesting bad meat, right? If you believe that Canelo Alvarez had clenbuterol in the system, it means that you believe VADA is a good testing agency, and you believe what VADA says, right? VADA, after all, is the agency that caught him, right? So if you believe that, then you have to believe VADA's regulation, in which VADA gives you a chance to clear your name by taking a hair follicle. And they test your hair follicle. Because it's true, if you ingested something, it will show up in your system, but it won't show up in your hair follicle because you would have had to been taking it for a longer period of time. You would have had to have higher trace amounts of that in your system for it to show up in your hair follicle. So, for example, I walk by a group of people smoking weed and I stand next to them or whatever. It may show up in my system for a certain amount of time, right, before it runs through my body. But if you take my hair follicle, that's going to show that I don't have a history of smoking weed. I don't do. So, some similar to that, right? Now, when they took Canelo Alvarez's hair follicle, not only did it clear him of clenbuterol, it cleared him of all banned substances. Let me say that again. It cleared him of all banned substances because they didn't just take his follicle and run a test they ran a test on his follicle that came back clean. So the most stringent test you can do, which is take someone's hair follicle and run a test on it, came back clean for Canelo Alvarez. So all you people making this VADA argument about VADA being the most stringent and VADA catching everyone, when they did the most stringent, when the most stringent drug program did the most stringent drug test you can do on Canelo Alvarez, he came up clean. And on top of that, you have to look at why they did the test. They called Canelo and said, you failed a drug test. Canelo said, what the hell are you talking about? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Man.
They said, no, Canelo, you really failed. He said, is this a joke? He said, okay, I'm coming up. They said, Canelo, if you're clean, then let us take your hair follicle. If you're clean, then we'll take your hair follicle. And guess what a guilty person would do? Say, hell no, you ain't taking my hair follicle. Guess someone who has all these PEDs in their system with red flags would say, you ain't taking my hair follicle. But Canelo says, go ahead. How many you need? Get it. And clears his name. That's what innocent people do. It's like as people roll up on me like, I need to search you. I'm clean. I don't really care if you search me. But if I was dirty, I may object. You see? So the people using this as an argument to prove Canelo's dirty don't realize how they're actually proving how he's a clean athlete. Because the moment he popped positive for something, he immediately allowed them to do a more stringent test to clear his name. Where they do that at? Only innocent people do that. Only innocent people do that. Like if the police ran up on me and they thought I was someone who committed a crime, right? And they were like, oh, we want to search you. And I had stuff on me. I would be like, no, man, you can't search me. I know my rights. I didn't do whatever. But if it's a brief moment, I thought I was someone who, someone robbed this place and stole some diamonds. And we think it was you and you fit the description, whatever. All right, go ahead. No diamonds. Whatever. Let me leave. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. Those same people making those arguments against Canelo don't realize how they actually clear his name. VADA, the most stringent test. VADA, the brand you trust. VADA, the one that's catching everyone, took his hair follicle and said the man is clean. Of all things, the only way you could clear your name for having clenbuterol in your system, the man did it and never test positive again ever since then. Never test positive before then. How can you make the argument that he's dirty? This is what I'm talking about when people don't think. Again, a case I would win in 5 minutes. I would simply say to the jury, does a guilty man behave that way? And two, they did this test. But to clear his name, he took an even more stringent test, a more accurate test, a test that's designed to catch people, and a test they can use to catch him for other PEDs he may have been using, if he was using other PEDs, and he agreed to that test and came clean on everything. So I want to reverse the narrative today. I want to go from hearing people say Canelo Alvarez is a dirty fighter to hearing them say he's the most clean fighter in boxing. Because when he was tested, he gave his follicle and hey, let's talk about the facts. When they tested his hair follicle, he came up clean of all PEDs. And that's more than all these other boxers do. All these other boxers don't give their hair follicle. And he gave his hair follicle at a time where they said he tested positive for something. So if that was the case, his hair follicle would have tested positive for it. So this is what people don't mention because they're too busy trying to tear down his name. To me, that's proof of a man that's clean. That's proof of a man that's so clean that said, what? What are you saying? What? Like, come on now. Me, whatever, take this hair. And when they test the hair, Canelo's a good man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what I would have done? You accuse me and then I clear my name? See, I would have made a big deal about it, Canelo. See, this is why sometimes just being a good dude and saying, all right, y'all made a mistake. Whatever. I know, publicly apologize for mine. The same way that the other place try to do Dillian. Nah, publicly apologize for mine. Because you sitting here trying to slander my name. Now you got all these clowns. You know, that's why Timothy Bradley's bald, so they can't take a hair follicle from his dirty urine having. So, you know what I'm saying? So you sit here and you want to say
that was smart. That was a good one. No wonder Timmy, he was so used to them saying he was on something. You know what?
You know what I mean? They can't take a hair follicle if you don't have no hair.
Yeah.
Hey, Ugas.
Oh God!
Ugas, the plot thickens, brother.
Y'all done started something.
Hey, is it goat for goat or is it no hair follicles?
Baldy for baldy.
Or goat meat.
Nah, but for real, you can't use the argument that VADA's the most stringent test. VADA's catching everybody, and then he clears VADA by using his hair follicle. It's an oxymoron. It doesn't exist. It's a case that's moot. It's a case that wouldn't even make it to court. It's a case that the judge will throw out because you file a motion to dismiss and you hand it to the judge, and the judge will be like, "This is some dumb ass. Don't make no dismissed." So you should really be talking about how this man's a clean fighter. And lastly, I just want to address this argument about red flags. Timothy Bradley, you do realize, right? Canelo Alvarez turned pro at 15 years old. Fact. You do realize that although he has all these fights under his belt, he is currently 31 years old. That's younger than Dillian White. That's younger than Terrence Crawford. It's the same age as Errol Spence Jr. So while Errol Spence was amateurs fight, Canelo Alvarez was a pro. Canelo Alvarez was fighting the elites in the game. You mean to tell me, honestly, Timothy Bradley, Timmy, you had the same stamina at 22 that you had in your 30s? I guarantee you your stamina was better in your 30s because you took it more serious. You did more. You mean to tell me you can't transform your stamina? Okay. So Anthony Joshua has better stamina now than he did against Andy Ruiz in their first fight. Why? Because he recognized the importance. Chris Arreola has better stamina now in his 40s than he did when he was fighting in his late 20s, early 30s. Why? Because then he didn't take his conditioning seriously. He came in overweight, but now he takes it seriously. And now you see Arreola is giving everyone all types of problems. He probably could have actually became champion if he took his conditioning seriously when he was in his late 20s, early 30s. But now he's taking it seriously, and now you see his stamina improving. If improving your stamina is proof that if improving your stamina raises red flags, then damn. Throw a flag on Trill, throw a flag on me, throw a flag on G soon, throw a flag on everyone. There's ways you can increase your conditioning without cheating. It just needs to matter to you enough for you to eat right, for you to go do the cardio, for you to go put in the work. Look at AJ. AJ's doing more running, more boxing workouts than he's ever done. Before, when you used to look at AJ, it was all weight-based. He was training literally like he was a bodybuilder. Canelo Alvarez was getting tired. If that was your observation, which I did see him, slow down in certain fights, but you don't think he felt that? If you can see it, you don't think he saw it? If you can see it, you don't think he saw it? You don't think he said, damn, I need to improve my conditioning? Yeah, I need to improve my conditioning. So he worked on his conditioning, and now you're seeing the results. He got better at everything else. Torso movement, timing, counterpunching, everything. He's improved everything else. What makes you think he won't work on his stamina? You see the man stays in the gym now. Look at Floyd Mayweather, arguably the greatest conditioned athlete, a boxer of all time. He stayed in the gym. But there's video footage of Floyd, and I don't know if this video footage is true, although it seems to be true and no one's ever disputed, of him sparring a Paul Supporter or something like that. And Floyd gets tired, and he's in a tough sparring session, and then Floyd falls out from exhaustion. People say it was that sparring session that led Floyd to stop getting out of shape in between fights, and that showed him like, yo, I need to stay in condition all time. I need to stay ready. Look at TC when he ran up on Earl Spence. Remember that? Yeah. TC was like, you looking a little fat. TC's like, yo, I'm ready to go right now. TC stay in shape. But Earl didn't. And we seen Earl kind of fade or whatever. But in Earl's comeback fight against Danny, he didn't fade like that. Look at him when he fought Sean Porter. He was looking sluggish, whatever, till he got the knockdown. So if improving stamina is a red flag, you're going to have red flags on everybody, bro. But all I know, and I'm closing with this dollar bill, and then you can bring us home. All I know is if you tell me VADA's the most stringent drug testing program, and they're the ones who tested Canelo and said you tested positive for this banned substance, clenbuterol, and then Canelo said, no, I didn't, and VADA, the program you trust, said, well, if you didn't, let us take your hair follicle, and when we test your hair follicle, it will show that you did it. Because see, if you didn't, it wouldn't show up in your hair follicle. And he said, fine, take it. They took his hair follicle and he came clean. If you trust VADA, then you should trust that the man was clean. And they didn't just take his follicle and say, oh, we're going to just test it for clenbuterol. They took his follicle and tested it. And if you're taking all types of PEDs, you don't want to open Pandora's box because you're like, they only caught me for the clen. But they don't know about the other stuff in me. So I ain't giving them this follicle. But that ain't what Canelo did. He did what innocent people do. He said, take this and clear my name. So from this point forward, I want to hear y'all talking about Canelo Alvarez, the cleanest boxer in the game. Go ahead, G.
Right. And another thing to add, remember, Canelo is now at 168. When he was fighting at 160, 154, 147, he's probably draining himself during training camp just to get into those fights. And he's going to get fatigued more. But 168 is probably a more comfortable weight for him. He carries the weight well. He probably doesn't balloon in between fights now. So now he carries himself a lot better under the 168 weight division. So there's a number of factors that I think Timothy Bradley should have considered before making this statement public.
Yeah, because we are witnessing greatness. And everybody should, appreciate this.
The only red flag is Timothy Bradley. Why you ain't got no hair?
Let us know for real. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. Fandom, Destined for Stardom's album out now, also on all streaming services. You know who we are. We are the Boxing Bro. You get back what you put out.
When things seem bleak, walk with me. To navigate these streets, walk with me.